Welcome to part 3 of the Groove series, where we continue to detail the inner workings of the groove layer. We've got a couple more very fascinating examples that'll give you some insights to some things you can listen for and hook into to enhance and make your dancing more musical in this version of Music for Dancers. Now the first groove we're going to study here is known by the musicians as a shuffle. Dun 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 dun. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, or 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4, and that's just the primary pulse. There are multiple layers of inner pulse, and you'll see how they develop. It's a fascinating thing because as a dancer, you have 3 pulses that you could hook into in this one seemingly simple groove. Much more sophisticated than it seems. Let's go ahead and listen to it, and then we'll talk about it together. Nice primary pulse. 1 2 3 4. Boom da boom da boom da boom da. 1 2 3 4. 1 2 3 4. 1 2 2 2. So there's the primary pulse. Now we also have an inner pulse that's happening here. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3. And there's those 2 pulses that you really absolutely have to know. 1 2 3 4. 1 2 3 4. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a. Then we have a bass player. 1 a 2 a 3 a 4 a 1 a 2 a 3 a 4 a 1 a 2 and a 3 a 4 a 1 a 2 and a 3 a 4 a 1 a 2 a 3 a 4 a 1 a 2 and a 3 and a 4 1 2 and a 3 and a 4 1. Now then there's also a hi-hat part that is happening that is very interesting. We still have the inner pulse, but every other note of the inner pulse is accented. 1 2 2 3 2 4. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. These all come together, giving you 3 or 4 different options that you can dance on. The primary pulse, the inner pulse, the shuffle pulse that the bass player is playing, and then the quarter note triplet pulse that is occurring in the hi-hat part. And most people are only going to hear 1 or 2 of them. You're going to hear them all. Now that's a cool song that has a lot of depth, and let's talk about the details. Once again, we have a primary pulse. 1 2 3 4. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. We've gone over that quite a bit in the pulse series. So we have this inner pulse, this da 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 da. 1 2 3 2 2 3 3 2 3 4 2 3, or 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. We have the bass player who's playing a shuffle groove. Doom 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 doom. That's where he's laying most of the time. The hi-hat part's a little more sophisticated and interesting, and this is where you'll need to buy a copy of this tune or find it on YouTube, where you have a really good sound system. You either want headphones or a great sound system, and you'll hear that there's a funny pulse or something that most people aren't used to in terms of what the drummer's playing on the hi-hat. Most of the time a drummer in the shuffle would be either playing 1 dun dun like the bass player shuffle pulse, or da 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 da. Instead of da 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 da, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4, he's 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 1. In other words, on the inner pulse, once you have it grooving along, he's emphasizing every other count, which creates a 3 against 2 feel. And you have to go back and listen to that. You may not get it the first time. You'll need to run through it 100 times before you really get it. But this is going to happen in waltz. It happens in 6/8 feel. And the melody very often will do this. Right now the groove layer is doing it, but you'll hear people doing it in the melody. Stevie Wonder loves these 3 against 2 feels. You'll just find this in hundreds of songs the more you understand this. So rewind this, listen to it again, get yourself your own copy, and enjoy this. You can learn a ton by studying this very nice groove. Just drum set, guitar. There's also a bass player, and he's hard to hear. If you have good headphones on or you're listening to good speakers, you'll hear him. So the bass player's there. And all 3 musicians are playing recurring parts. We have a voice, chorus up top, just playing very, very long notes. But this song sets up a groove. And that was a fill. That was our marker at the end of that phrase. If you go back to the phrase series, you'll recognize that that was telling us we have a new phrase. But below the voice, below Paul Simon singing, the groove is fundamentally the same thing over and over again. It is not like the ocean that we talked about in the last video. They're playing the same thing with minor variations to mark the end of the phrases. There's an extra guitar player playing in here. Now, the interesting thing about that cowbell there, I've heard the song enough times to know where it is, but that is not part of the groove layer. And the reason it's not is it comes up once in the whole song, and it does not recur and help that groove be a foundation for other things on top of it. It's a great embellishment, but it is not part of the groove layer. So the differentiation is in the groove layer you have the repeating elements, and there are variations, but mainly you have this repetitive thing that helps the song move forward and gives it momentum and gives it a feel and creates this foundation so he can sing above it. And then we get much more intense here, and we're really playing the same things, but we've changed to some different instruments. We've added trumpet here, obviously. But those, I would also consider those part of the groove layer because they're recurring. They keep happening. So you can see this is a much more complex example, but it's a very interesting, fascinating, good feel example as well. Now that song happens to be called Late in the Evening, and it's probably at least 30 years old, and it withstands the test of time. But it's a great example, and you can see that the same elements repeat throughout that whole song. If you hear the groove right in the beginning, it is actually the same almost the whole way through. Now at phrase points, musicians very often change the groove slightly to let you know, hey, new phrase is starting. So if you haven't watched the phrase videos, go back and watch that series. It'll help make a lot more sense. But the groove carries on with minor variations, and it creates a feel. It's what creates the mood, and instantly you hear the beginning of that song and you know what song it is if you happen to know that groove. It's unique, it fits that, and it's the rhythmic foundation that all the melody floats over. And dancers will do the same thing. Once they know the groove, once they acknowledge the groove, once they're working with the groove, then you can make choices to go against the grain, to do what happens with the melody. But it's always best to find something in the music and either play off it or play with it, but don't ignore it. Now there's some other things. When you're sitting next to another dancer, they're not always hearing the same song that you are. Some are not hearing as many layers as you. And if you're not into that yet, you definitely want to buy these and go listen and try to figure out each element. That was drum set playing, that's guitar playing. Can you hear the bass player in that tune in the background? Can you hear how they fit together and how they're working together to create that feel, to create that rhythmic foundation for your great dance on top of it? And the more you do that with simple songs, the easier it becomes as we get into greater complexity. So a single instrument can create a groove, but very often it's this big puzzle and the pieces come together, and depending on how many pieces they put together and the way they put it together, it'll create a unique feel for this one song. It's a deep subject. Now if you have questions, if I missed something, if I wasn't clear, then leave a comment for me. Be sure to share this out in Facebook. The more shares, the happier everybody is. You can subscribe to it, give it a thumbs up. But I'm excited about some of these upcoming videos. We have a lot more and some things that will help you be a dramatically better dancer. And of course, a groove is a terrible thing to waste. So make sure you're hearing it, that you hear it quickly, and the more you study these simple grooves, the easier it becomes as we get into more complex material. So I'm excited to spend some time with you. I hope you've enjoyed this, and we'll see you on the next version of Music for Dancers.